Welcome, everyone. Welcome, club members on Zoom. Welcome, club members in the room. And welcome, guests. We are absolutely delighted to have you here today. Special welcome goes out to the Cave Spring Key Club right over there. I am Michael Brockton, and I'm pleased to be serving as president of one of the largest Kiwanis clubs in the world. Happy Valentine's Day. It's the perfect day to acknowledge that true friendship, true love are the greatest of gifts. And what better day to be passing around 3 cards, and not for that illness type of stuff. Oh no. All 3 cards are for the births of club members' babies. Really? So our own club member, Brooke Tolley, and her husband celebrated the birth of a child just a week or so ago. Let's see, Marissa Steele, new club member. She and her family are celebrating the birth of a new child. And Ryan LaFountain, another new child. That's just fantastic. So, with that, we're going to have Joyce come up and Gary come up for the introspection and the pledge.
Happy Valentine's Day to all of you who are my friends. What a day of joy, a day of love, a day of happiness. So much to celebrate. But what do we do tomorrow? How do we keep the joy, the happiness? Tomorrow, the next day, a month from now. We do it by being deeply rooted. The happiness which brings enduring worth to life is not the superficial happiness that is dependent on circumstances. It is the happiness and the commitment that fills the soul, even in the midst of the most distressing of circumstances and the most bitter environment. It is the kind of happiness that grins when things go wrong and smiles through the tears. The happiness for which our soul aches is one undisturbed by success or failure, one which will root deeply inside us and give inward relaxation, peace, and contentment, no matter what the surface problems may be. That kind of happiness stands in need of no outward stimuli. Stay deeply rooted.
Join me in the pledge of allegiance to our flag of the greatest nation, best nation in the world. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you all. Please be seated. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Gary. So the introduction of guests today is going to be accomplished by our own Andre Brooks, who's on the way up to the microphone.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is my privilege to welcome our guests today, and we have a lot of guests. So, hope you will make them all feel welcome. I'm going to introduce the guests and then the host who's invited them. I'm going to ask you all to stand and remain standing while we introduce everyone. And then we will show our appreciation for their attendance. Let's begin with the Phoenix Star Action Club. Jeff Swiger, Robbie Harris, Charles Renews, and they are the guests of Ken Briggs. Beth O'Brocta, I can't remember who she's the guest of, and mostly our president. And then J.C. Taylor Fan Club. All at one time. Maybe I should stand to this. Pat Harris. Patty Harris. Melissa Jackson. And Maurice Taylor. And J.C., you can stand too. We have Taylor Medley from Carillion Clinic. She's a former Key Club member, and she has marked that she's interested in joining our club. Very happy about that. One man then brings us a host today. Thank you, Ken. Trish White Boyd, who is with Bert Boyd. Kathleen Roanoke, am I pronouncing that right? Sorry. I'm sorry. Thorell, a guest of Pegram Johnson. Chris Stutzman with Bridges, also a guest of Ken Briggs. Charles, I'm sorry, he's been introduced. Robin Barge is a guest of Alex Barge. I think they might be related. And then Addie Lugisi. Thank you for the help with that. And she is a guest of John Montgomery. So welcome all of you here today. We are so pleased that you're here. I hope you will enjoy your lunch with us and meeting. I'm sorry. First things first, introductions. Steve Stutzman, who I believe is with Chris, and they are guests of Ken Briggs. So welcome all of you. Thank you for being here. Please come back and visit the
Thank you, Andre. It is nice to see this many guests here today. Now, I have a little something for one guest in particular. Happy Valentine's Day to my wife, Beth. Don Wynn is coming up to take my photograph so we can document how nice the club president is to his wife. This is going to be a get out of jail card for me when I need it. Come on up here, Beth.
I don't know, that's too formal. Give her a kiss. That's better.
Thank you for the indulgence. I just looked at the visitor log. Turns out, the way I look at it, Beth did check the box saying she was thinking about being married. All right, now let's transition into the president's weekly message. I hope you all enjoyed last week's wristwatch exercise. This week, I'm moving on to a different part of the anatomy. The brain, as in brain trust, sometimes referred to as wise elders, experienced experts, or a think tank. I'm talking about a group of people who are primarily concerned with the planning and strategy of an organization. Now, this term brain trust was popularized when FDR assembled a group of experts to assist him during his presidency. Well, our club is quite fortunate to have just this kind of group here. They're functioning as my Presidential Advisors Committee. This committee is comprised of 22 selected past presidents. 22. Just think about that. There are 22 or more club members who are past presidents who are still active in this club. I think that's one of the reasons we're one of the largest in the world, by the way. Now, active is that key term. So even prior to my term as president, I began communicating and seeking advice from this wizened brain trust. Their feedback and suggestions have been terrific. There's no way someone like me could possibly, given my limited background, limited experience, given, dare I say, my limited wisdom, there's no one someone like me could possibly do as well as this collective bunch of advisors. I really am appreciative. It was just last week that this group met in person and singularly focused on our theme of outreach. They brainstormed a long list of ideas to help propel our club in that direction. Stay tuned, we're going to meet again. When we do, we're going to select a few of those ideas and you'll hear more about it. Because after all, outreach is the way we're going to continue to fill this club room up with so many guests. Thank you very much. So some of you weakly applauded for my message. I appreciate that. Save the real applause now for our autobiography given by our own David Points. This is going to be fascinating.
Happy Valentine's Day. Get a few notes out the way. Thank you to Mayor Dave Bowers and Dr. Cutler, who gave me the invitation to come to Kiwanis. Thank you to the Kiwanis Club members for accepting me as a member. And I believe this summer will be 8 years. So I'll be a member for 8 years. Thank you. Thank you to President Michael Brockton and P. Boone Johnson for allowing me to share my brief biography. I will let you know that I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I was a paper boy to Barry Gordy, lived down the street from all those people. The only two people I didn't meet on a regular basis was Aretha and Marvin Gaye. So the little boy you see all. Let me preface my comments and then I'm gonna go fast. Let me preface my comments by saying that one of the reasons why I don't talk about myself is my father was a college professor when he was drafted at Alabama State, at that time, Alabama State, Normal College. And he was drafted, segregated unit, fought in the Battle of the Bulge. 16 men of his unit, segregated men, returned. I never heard my father raise his voice. My father was a chemist. When he left the university, the college, and then became a chemist for the United States government. We never knew what he did until after he passed. We knew he was a specialist. I say that to say because when he rode back, coming back from World War II, the men in his unit rode in the U.S. postal car with the bags. And the German prisoners on the way to Huntsville rode in first class. Let me say that again. The German prisoners rode in first class. So I say that, my father never said anything and complained, then who am I? Let me begin by, I'm gonna go quick. Dr. David Points, oh, by the way, I took this off of Google. Took it off of Google. You'll notice some of the comments on it. Dr. David Points, General Manager of WFJX Fox Radio 10, CBS Sports in Roanoke, Virginia. WFJX is a community-focused, orientated news talk and sports format radio station heard on 910 AM and 104.3 FM. David Points graduated from Cass Technical High School in Detroit, Michigan. Other graduates from Cass Tech, John DeLorean, Don DeBerg, Carol Gist, who was the first USA African-American, David Allen Greer, Diana Ross, Jack White of the White Stripes, he won 12 Grammys, a whole bunch of other people. And you may know this person who graduated from Cass Tech. U.S. Assistant Secretary of Agriculture for Conservation, Research, and Education, former City Council member Roanoke, Dr. Rupert Cutler, graduate of Cass Tech. I attended Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. While at Fisk, I was elected class president as a sophomore, transferred to Saginaw Valley State University in University Center, Michigan, with an opportunity to be an exchange student at Philip Lafayette College for teachers in Great Britain. I received a bachelor's art degree in English. I received a special education specialist degree and doctor of philosophy, PhD degree in curriculum and instruction from Wayne State University College of Education. And I'm reading it off of Google. Dr. Points was the 2016 Saginaw Valley State University Alumni of the Year. Dr. Points attended Texas Southern University, Thurgood Marshall Law, and that school is also known as Houston College for Negroes. He completed the requirements for the law degree, receiving a doctorate of jurisprudence from Ohio Northern University School of Law in Ada, Ohio. Furthering his former legal education, he received a Master of Labor Law, LLM, from the Graduate Law School at Wayne State University in Detroit. Inducted in Phi Beta Delta Honor Society. While completing the LLM, I owned a club called Cactus Speaks and later changed it to Chill and Mingle for 17 years in Hamtramck, Michigan. I've taught broadcasting, English, mathematics, special education for Saginaw Public Schools, Detroit Board of Education, and also for an academy in Pontiac, Michigan. Dr. Points was appointed court administrator and magistrate for the state of Michigan 30th District Court of Highland Park. He was the first African-American appointed magistrate in the city of Highland Park. He was later elected to the Michigan State Legislature and served as a state representative on the House Appropriations Committee, representing cities of Hamtramck, Highland Park, and a portion of Detroit. And then I served as communication analyst for the House of Representatives in the elected legislature. I'm probably the only member in the 50-50 House of History of Michigan State Legislature that served on taxation and appropriations at the same time. Dr. Points was a visiting law professor at Miles Law School, Birmingham, Alabama, taught part-time at Lewis College of Business. Both are, Lewis is back open, historically Black colleges and university members. Dr. Points has been a news reporter, news public service director at radio stations in Florida, Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, Texas, here in Roanoke. But I also was a fourthcaster in the steel division at Ford Motor Car Company, where I poured steel. That's how I got my money to go to school. I built my first radio tent. Dr. Points enjoyed participating in the Over 40 Ice Hockey League as a member of the state legislature. And we formed a group called the Capital Six, a bipartisan hockey team with other legislators to raise money for the Michigan Hospice. Me and, or I, Lake Kiwanis, Jim Arin, we used to talk about hockey all the time. He's from Windsor, Ontario, and I never was good enough to play for the Windsor Spitfires. It's just, I just wasn't good enough. I serve on a lot of boards, so we'll skip that there. I'm a life member of my proud fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. As you know, Martin Luther King was a member. While here in Roanoke, I attend St. Paul United Methodist Church. Now we're going to shift gears. Commander David S. Points, former director, Joint Information Bureau, Task Force 160, JTF, Joint Task Force 160, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Recalled to active duty February 2002 after retirement to serve Operation Enduring Freedom. I remained a director while at the Joint Information Bureau transition to the United States Army and National Guard, because at that time the Navy base did not handle detainees. I was awarded the Joint Service Achievement Medal and the Joint Meritorious Unit Award. I'm not a pilot, I'm not a Navy pilot. So on Saturday, I had a change of command at Jacksonville Air Station, one of the divisions. I was overweight, I hadn't run in 6 months. That Saturday, fly home, get ready to go back to teach law school. Get home Tuesday, my wife says, look at the TV. So what Saturday did I retire? Saturday before 9/11. So I go to get these, we go to the fax machine, I get a copy of the orders, and I had to fly up to Great Lakes to check in. I was handpicked, selected to be the director of all media So whatever CNN, ABC, any media outlet, ABC radio, whatever their counterpart is in the world, that's who I was the director of the entire world. I don't wish that on anybody. I don't wish that. That's it. Okay, let's see. So here's a little history. Served as the lead public affairs officer for the Commander-in-Chief, U.S. Fleet, commanding officer of several public affairs teams. It was Operation Desert Shield, Operation Desert Storm, Persian Gulf War with assignments in Saudi Arabia, that part of the world. I was the NATO public affairs officer, representing such countries as Egypt, Germany, Great Britain, Italy. Other assignments, I was the chairman of Joint Chief of Staff Public Affairs Office. I was in that office, recalled to active duty, and worked with something you may be familiar with, the napalm outreach team. And what happened when Vietnam was over, there was a big discussion of what do you do with the napalm? What do you do with the napalm? And you couldn't destroy it because of the treaties. So we took the metal casings, smashed those aluminum casings and made them into airplane propellers. We took the wood, ground it up to make it into bits, and we took the fuel, actually the napalm, and put it in fuel, use it for fuel for fire furnaces. In closing, I was a multicultural education professor at Wayne State University, teacher education division while I was completing my PhD. And then I went back to the university, taught at as the director, first year experience, associate director of education at Lane College, which is a historical Black college in Jacksonville, in Jackson, Mississippi, Jackson, Tennessee. That's it. Thank you.
Wow. How many lifetimes of experience here coming out of one person's mouth? It was terrific to hear that background. Thank you for your autobiography. David, I encourage you to submit that to the newsletter, all the other members of this club. Now, turns out that Bob Haberman is on the way up to do one of our favorite things, which is to give away some money.
And thank you, President Mike. We have a one grant to award today to the Tudor House. And Pegram, would you come up and tell us a little bit about the Tudor House? And Kathleen, if you would tell us a little bit about what you're going to do.
Good afternoon. Let me start out by saying Tudor House is a first-time grant recipient from Kiwanis. This is the first year they've applied for a grant because Tudor House is relatively new. I'm sure many of you here today knew Louis Tudor. I knew Louis because he was the owner of Tudor's Biscuit World on Church Avenue, where I ate many a lunch or run down for a breakfast biscuit. And I think probably a lot of you worked there. Louis owned, and Louis was the effervescent counter person serving you the biscuits, always upbeat, just a wonderful guy. He ran Tudor House, ran Tudor House from 1985 to 2012. At that point, Tudor House closed. Louis had been a swimmer at UNC in his college days, and he loved swimming. He loved talking about swimming. My son was a swimmer. He was always asking how he had done and whatever. So when Louis closed Tudor House, he got into the world of volunteer coaching, swim, and he coached to start with the Gators. And Kathleen told me when she was a Masters swimmer later here, he was coaching and swimming with Masters on the Marlins team, which what both those were year-round swim teams. He founded the City Swim Barracudas, which was a program for inner city kids, a swim program for them. I would see Louis at the Y. He was coaching a Y team in swimming. So he was big into swimming his whole life. But when COVID came along in 2020, as you all know, in about March of 2020, everything was shut down and we were social distancing and wearing masks. And swimming, the Y closed and the swimming pools closed and swim teams closed. And that was quite a distressing time for Lewis. It went on because that was his activity, was being involved with kids in swimming, and there wasn't a lot of that in the beginning of, well, as COVID began. Well, Lewis developed some depression through that, which unfortunately led to Lewis taking his own life in July. So after that, his friends and family, Kathleen was telling me, immediately got together and thought about what can we do with this situation to turn it into something good. So Tutor House was formed as a suicide prevention organization. And I'm going to let Kathleen pick up with the story right here.
Hi there, I am Kathleen Terrell. I'm the executive director of Tutor House and have been since the beginning. So it's an honor to honor Lewis's legacy and be involved with something that makes an impact on the mental health of not only our community, but all the communities around Roanoke Valley. So I just appreciate you having us here. For the sheer fact that there's probably people in this room that haven't heard of Tutor House before. So anytime that we can get in front of people and let them know who we are and what we do is a good day. So thank you for having me. We are thrilled to be able to put this money towards one of our newest programs, but our most successful as well. About a year ago, we started the Teen Ambassador Program. We focus primarily on adolescents because there is a major mental health crisis in the nation with adolescents. In Virginia, also, suicide is the second leading cause of death for those 10 to 24. So Lewis was a kid at heart, and his favorite thing to do was work with children. So we felt like this was a great way to honor his legacy. And our Teen Ambassador Program is a peer mentor program where we train teens throughout the Roanoke City, Roanoke County, Salem, Franklin County, on mental health awareness, suicide issues, suicide prevention. And they in turn are able to go back to their home schools, to their friends, and share those resources, be open to mental health, and reduce the stigma that is often associated with mental health. And I will tell you that this next generation is so impressive. They're very aware of mental health. They're much more apt to talk about it than certainly I was when I was their age. And I was pleasantly surprised to have two of our amazing ambassadors, Gabby and Sam, y'all stand up, attending today as part of the Ski Club of Cave Spring High School. So, round of applause. With the different school systems that our ambassadors attend, we make an impact in over 39,000 students based on all the schools that they go to. So we use these funds to have outreach events. You were talking earlier, Mike, about outreach, and we do that as a way to spread our message and our mission. So most recently we had a paint event where all the ambassadors invited a friend. So we had about 40 teens in one room who were learning to use painting as a coping skill while also learning about Tutor House and mental health. So those are a really great way to spread our message, and with funds that you all are supplying, we're going to be able to continue to have those events. So again, we just appreciate it. Open anyone who wants to come and find out more about Tutor House, please come in and let me know. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, club members. You're the reason we're able to give away these grants. Now, Cave Spring has been mentioned innumerable times. And they're going to be mentioned some more now. Larry, are you on your way up? Thank you.
Thank you, President Mike. I'm Larry Kufel, and I'm the Kiwanis Key Club Advisor for the Cave Spring Key Club. And as President Mike always says at the beginning of each meeting, our Kiwanis Club is one of the largest and best clubs in the world. Well, we can say the same thing about the Cave Spring Key Club. There are 127 members in their Key Club, and they do great work. And so they have to be one of the best Key Clubs in the world. They always show up to help our Christmas shopping spree. And they also help at our Cave Day every year. We can always count on the Key Club from Cave Spring High School. This year I've talked to Ann Houston. I want to introduce her. She is the faculty advisor for the Key Club. She's been doing that for 9 years. She also has been at the high school for 12 years and she teaches anatomy. And this is a quote from her because she has a unique structure for her leadership. This year, I tried not to label positions and have them just be officers. They all just do what is needed to be done. Samantha Manico is the president and makes the PowerPoints and runs the meetings. Basically, everyone does logbooks, social media, sending texts, being at events to run things, etc. There has been times when Samantha wasn't able to make the meeting and someone else would run it and do all the work together to make the club successful. So behind me is Samantha Manico, and she's the president. And as I mention your names, please stand up. This is the rest of the leadership team. Emma Hanachek, Mitchell Keller, Moyo Dinikin, and Vita Panchu Markey, Dia Reddy, Haley Lipscomb, Gabby Holahan, and Delaney McLaughlin. Please give them a hand. They do so many great service projects throughout the year. So now let's have Samantha, the president, deliver a keynote update.
Well, it is so nice to be here and getting to learn a little bit more about Kiwanis. I was pleasantly surprised by Kathleen with Tutor House. Gabby and I have both been members of Tutor House for some time. And it's a great organization. But I wanted to give a little time to Key Club. So as you guys know, we have 127 members, which is the most we've ever had in our Key Club, and it's the biggest club in the Roanoke Valley. Recently, some of our service projects have included making Valentines for veterans, which as we speak, they are currently being delivered to inpatient veterans at the Salem VA Medical Center. We are also currently raising money for the American Heart Association, and the money that we are raising is directly helping one of our very own at Cave Spring. If you want to hear a little bit more about that, you can come talk to us. Also, last month we were able to raise $200 for our club through volunteering at a local track meet, which is a really good opportunity for our club. So not only are we giving our time volunteering, but we're also getting some money for our club. Also in December, we raised money for the Salvation Army by bell ringing. And due to the sheer size of our club, we were able to fill 2 whole days of bell ringing at a local Walmart. And also all those kids that were volunteering for bell ringing, they took their own time out of their winter break, which I thought was awesome. There's also a handful of events that we are continuing to do. So we've always been a part of the pancake breakfast. That's one of my personal favorites, like Kiwanis does. We are also volunteering again at the marathon, the Blue Ridge Marathon. And this year we have our very own station that is going to be run just by Key Club members at Cave Spring. But yeah, that's just some of the events we're doing, and we have a lot more coming up. Don't want to stand up here and chat for too long, but
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Besides all the things you listed that you're doing, one of the things you've done today, and I think it's pretty significant, is you've lowered the average age of people in this room. All right, bear with me. This is announcement time. It was busy last week. We Had presidential advisors meet, officers meet, a Thursday social at Lawful Authors. Thank you very much for that. KPAD Operations Committee met. Fund Day Committee met. Strategic Planning Committee met. You know, that strategic planning stuff is almost as much fun as meeting an Awful Authors for drinks. The board met and the Nature Park Project met. Chedwoods, thank you for the Valentine's cards. Thank you. We only put one to good use just a few moments ago. So, Foundation Board, you're meeting today immediately following this meeting. Membership Committee, you're not meeting this week, but I'm delighted to see Harry Zuloff, Committee Chair, in the room at this moment. KPAD ticket sales team captains are needed. That's right. It's the time of year where we're gearing up to sell tickets for our annual pancake event that you mentioned. Ticket sales team captains are needed to volunteer immediately. And that's a fun job, right? That's a fun job. So give that your attention, will you please? Ben Spiker or Amy Carter will help you volunteer. I mentioned strategic plan. Bill Bestich wants me to remind some of you in the room who have been ignoring his emails to pay attention. He's trying to reach out to several of the committees in this room so they have adequate input into the strategic plan. Please respond to him as soon as. I think he'll be in contact with them directly. Hate to be on the end of that email. So, the Environment Committee, your meeting via Zoom, February 19th. The next Fund Day Committee, your meeting via Zoom, February 23rd. Larry Kufel, who is just up there, not only does he do a terrific job with a Key Club, he does a terrific job arranging our periodic socials at the Mill Mountain Theater. He's done it again. Margaritaville is the name of the show. You got sign-up sheets on your table. All the information is listed in that sign-up sheet, except, Larry said, emphasize that we're also including free margaritas at the social. Okay, quickly. We are volunteering at a station at the Blue Ridge Marathon, in addition to the Cave Spring Key Club. Sign up for that when the information comes out. Prayer Breakfast, they're gonna have their next meeting. Kids Fishing Day, Spring Fun Day, those are all placeholders. Stay attention for more information on all of those. And do again what you've done today. Fill this room with guests. Thank you very much. Now, I don't get to do this often, but I get to do it with great pleasure. There's going to be another outreach award at this moment in time. It turns out this one's going to a new club member who quickly demonstrated initiative, volunteered to chair a brand new committee, the Business Outreach Committee. And just this week, his committee's proposal was accepted by the board, our board, and we've created a brand new class of membership, a corporate membership opportunity. I think that initiative is deserving of an award and your applause. So the way this works, he's going to get a banner to wear on his badge, and then he's going to get a pin to wear on the banner, and he can also wear the pin all those corporate engagements he has when he's not here at Kiwanis. Let's look at the camera. Right here, Lee Carter. That's the things about. Now, many of you are sitting on the edges of your chairs, ready to spend money and brag. We're going to postpone that due to the schedule If we have time at the end of the meeting, we'll get you. If we don't, there's always next week. Now it's time for someone who does not know J.C. Taylor especially well to introduce him. Steve?
President Mike is cute, isn't he? I didn't hear much. Sorry, Mike. It's a great honor for me to introduce J.C. Taylor to you. J.C. and I have been friends for at least 45 years. And I probably know him better than most, but not as well as his wife knows him. Larice, please stand for just a moment. I know you're embarrassed. Fine. J.C. grew up in Franklin County as a veteran of the United States Army. Made the wise decision 45 years ago to marry Larice. And they have 3 sons, Jay, Mark, and Matthew. J.C. worked for the U.S. Postal Service until he retired from that because his real love was working in real estate. J.C. has won a number of awards in Roanoke Valley as one of the top 2% of real estate salespeople in this area. And he is still working as a realtor. And he and I both have the same broker. When J.C. first went into the real estate business 46 years ago, I think there might have been 2 other Black people who were selling real estate at the time. And this one is the most successful of all of them, J.C. Taylor, because he is a genuine person. J.C. is a sincere, deeply thoughtful person. He learned a lot of that from Larice, and the rest of it he got on his own. J.C. was there in 1984 when I was elected to the Roanoke County Board of Supervisors the first time, and quickly discovered that there had been no Black people serving in any elected or appointed capacities in Roanoke County, to the best of my knowledge, in this 150-year history. And with J.C.'s experience in real estate, I asked him to serve on the county's Board of Equalization, which he did for 17 years, eventually becoming its chair. In 1992, when I became clerk of court, I quickly discovered that there had never been any Black people who served on the county's grand jury. Not only did J.C. Taylor step up for that opportunity as well, but at that time, Mayor Noel C. Taylor was an active member of this club, and Mayor Taylor gave me a list of people he would suggest for the county's grand jury who were Roanoke County residents, and they and J.C. have continued to serve for the past 40 years. Quite a record. So it comes as no surprise to you that when I invited J.C. Taylor to join this club, he came in quickly and was his usual self, being extremely positive and outgoing. And before we knew it, J.C. Taylor was our first Black president in our club's 104-year history 10 years ago. J.C. Taylor's subject today is Who Lit the Fire? Please join with me in welcoming J.C. Taylor.
Good afternoon to all of you. Steve just said some stuff that I didn't know about me. Glad to know that. And I'm also glad to be here with you today. Now, he didn't mention that this is Black History Month. And a lot of stuff you hear, Black History Month is just that, history. And it needs to stay in what? History. Y'all can talk back to me. Don't get all nervous. I'm not gonna do that. Now, my subject is going to run from age 4 to about age 21. after age 21, you would probably need another speaking engagement. Because their lives changed greatly.
We can arrange it.
That's all right. But you young people, you may hear some things that may sound unreal to you. But let's just start from the beginning. I was born in Franklin County. I was raised on a 325-acre farm where we raised beef cattle. Our main product was beef cattle. Of course, we had every kind of vegetable you could name. Never had to buy any vegetables because we canned it up during the summer. And we had it all, and we never had to buy beef because when we wanted some beef, we butcher a cow and can it up. And so it was always there. My dad, of course, was a sharecropper. You know what a sharecropper is? You might want to read up on that. But a sharecropper is someone lives on the farm, take care of the farm, and they get a little portion of what's made there. Now, you would have thought my dad owned the farm if you came in and talked to him because nobody knew he didn't own the farm. Now, there was a young man, I was just a baby, I'm told, when a young man came in out of college and purchased the farm. Well, he told my dad, I want you to stay here and run this farm. Now, have anybody seen Green Acres? Put your hands. Y'all saw Green Acres back in the day. Okay, there was a young man right out of college came in and bought the farm. And he was farming with a book. So you definitely can see why he needed some help. And you also can see why my dad ran the show. It's what he said went, and the other gentleman didn't have much choice because he really didn't know what he was doing. But that was the way it ran, and whoever went there thought that Jesse Taylor owned this big farm. Didn't know much about my dad. I tell you often, while your parents are living and you want to know something about them, get the history. Know absolutely nothing about my dad's history. Absolutely zero. Don't know where he played, who he played with. I heard he was born in Danville, and that's about it. Sometimes you need to sit down and have that conversation. And I assume we all thought that he would live forever. But little did we know he would be gone at 57 years old. And I never got that piece of history. Now, jumping up a little bit while I'm going to cram all these years in 20 more minutes. The president set a watch up here, he didn't turn it on.
He will.
Jumping forward a few years, I met this beautiful lady. And after we met, she just couldn't get me off her mind. I will have to admit, it was two-sided. So in order to be able to go on back to work and start doing stuff that I like to do, we had to go on and get married. In fact, she already started planning. I didn't know it. Before I knew it, we were married and had a son. When I opened my eyes, I said, whoa, that happened quick. 45 years later, must have been pretty good. We still here. A few years into the marriage, I'm gonna have to stick to my notes here. A few years into the marriage, she said, do you ever stop working? It's like a fire. It's like someone has lit a fire inside of you. Well, let me ask you all something today. When there's a fire in the town and you call the fire department will go out and extinguish the fire, am I right? But the fire chief want to know what? Who started the fire? And that's my message for today. Who started the fire? Larice, open your ears. But if you want to know more about my little wit, I must take you back to where the fire was there. Are you ready? Do you want to know? Let's go to school. Back in the country where I was born, I was somewhere between 4 and 5 years old. On a rainy day, the rain was pouring down. I noticed my older sibling walking that 1.5 to 2 miles to school. When a bus passed by with kids on the bus that we play with every day, I was like able to crawl up on the sofa and see the bus. I said, Mom, we called Mom, Mom, why didn't the bus stop and pick them up? She gave me a very short answer. That's the white bus. Now I thought I knew my colors, and I thought I knew my numbers. And to me, that bus does not look white. But you don't question Mom and you don't question Dad. I let it go at that. But when my siblings got home from school, I got my question answered and I got an earful. That's when I found out that I was colored and I was not eating. That started a fire in my gut at such a young age. It was so hurtful. I didn't have any cuss words back then. And if I had known any, I wouldn't use them that really hurt. Because I knew the next year I'd be going to school and ain't no bus. At that young age, even back then, I'm going to rise above this. That was in my spirit. It was painful. These kids are like family, and we all, but they get to ride the bus. But I was really too young to say a bad word back then. Let's fast forward 12, 13 years old now. Again, I was caught totally off guard. I was too young to be hired as a hired hand at the adjoining farm, where he was hiring everybody he could get his hand on because he wanted to get his wheat crop up before the rain comes. I wanted some back to school money. And knowing my dad, you didn't work for it, he didn't give you one dime. He could have a pocket full of money, but my dad wouldn't give you a penny. You had to work for it. So I wanted to work and get some and make me some money. Even the chores around the house. You did the chores to earn your meals and a place to sleep. That's the way Jess Taylor felt. So I asked my brothers if they could get me on as a water boy, because I was too young to work. So they did. They hired, when you like to have a young man to bring water out in the fields, and I got hired as a water boy. Being creative. Well, the pay was good, in my opinion. Anything I got was good. I was saving it for school. It was all good that day. Until lunchtime. We all had gathered on this big front porch. You know, the big house like to have it on the show Dallas, always had these big houses. And there's a big front porch. They call everybody, bring equipment in. Let's have lunch. It was all good then. Until the boss man walked out on the porch and yelled. All white hands coming to eat. At first, I thought it was a joke. But it was real. That fire in my gut is burning again. By now, I knew a few curse words. I'm not home now. So I said, what the blank? I can't say that, the last letter is a case. Sorry about that. An old gentleman said, you be cool. Because the cooks here know us real good. And we will get, although we eating last, we're gonna get the big piece of chicken. I said, now we've been just insulted to the max. And the only thing he's concerned about is a big piece of chicken. And he even quoted a note from the Apostle Paul. I've learned to be content wherever I find myself. I said, yeah, you don't have to stay there. And there's a song also that says you don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. Some of y'all heard that. Don't help me out, don't worry about you, everything good? That happened at that time, and the pain in the gut was still burning. Let's jump forward there a few more years. Back in our neighborhood, they told the young men, y'all know Vietnam was going on, don't even dream and don't waste your money sending it to the college. Because Uncle Sam wants you. But the day you graduated, go on up there and get your registration in. Within a few months later, you were on the plane, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. You were drafted. No choice. Again, I went to a base. They had so many recruits back then until they didn't know what to do with them. So they sent me to a base where they only had a few soldiers. So they sent me to Fort Stewart, Georgia. You know where that is, though? Yes, you know where it is, don't you? Hinesville, Georgia. Buddy of mine, this was after boot camp and everything. Buddy and I went to Savannah, and we were Christmas shopping after boot camp and everything. That's right on. Went to this Christmas shopping, and this nice restaurant was downtown. And there was lots of soldiers were there. So we decided we would grab a bite to eat. In our minds, we were soldiers. So we strolled in, and I'm gonna tell you, I thought since I was a soldier, I had some rights. So I ate. Matter of fact, I had a little sway in my step. Y'all saw that movie with Eddie Murphy and Gene Wilder. Remember when they got arrested and went to jail? He strolled in the jail. And so I was I had a little stroll and walk, because I said, this is big time. We gonna be in here, place full of soldiers. I said, we're gonna show these guys who we are. Okay, so we walked in, a lot of soldiers, and all of us were soldiers. We sat down and ordered a hamburger, hot dog, French fry, a scotch and soda, a Budweiser, and a glass of water. Then my buddy ordered his. Then this nice lady said, you have to stand over there because I have to make this to go for you because we can't serve your kind in here. So I'm, rather than get embarrassed, I just kind of whispered to you, you know we're soldiers. I said, I don't care, but if you be a soldier, we can't serve you in here. So we walked out. We decided we're going to fix her. We're going back and tell the first sergeant. We get back to base Monday morning, couldn't wait to get in there and tell the first sergeant what had happened to us up in Savannah. He looked at us and said, is that right? I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get on this. But it so happened I worked in the orderly room. You was not soldiers at the office. And I overheard the conversation from another room. First sergeant told somebody he had business up there anyway. So you can't go over his head because the base I was on, the first sergeant ran the show. And he had a policy. If you didn't like Georgia, your next home was Vietnam. So he had a choice there, and if you go over his head, you're going even quicker. And I didn't want to go to Vietnam, but we really didn't have the proper training anyway because they were rushing us through so fast. But anyway, I had sense enough to know that if you put in a transfer and try to leave here, you're going to Vietnam. And if you go over his head to the company commander and tell him what the first sergeant just did, you're going to Vietnam. The first sergeant had been in the military 30 years, and he ran the show. He was every bit 5 feet tall. Had stripes all the way up and down both arms and all up and down here. He was loaded. Keep in mind, I'm a brand new, young recruit. Now, I also heard people saying you black guys always like to pray and you're known for religion. Well, in the case like this, you heard the story, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters? Ghostbusters hadn't even come out. So, what you do? Father, I stretch my hand to thee. No other help I know. If you withdraw yourself from me, whither will I go? That's what we did. Who else could you call on? Now, being in the military, he was in transfer. I happened to work in the office. There were a number of brothers that transferred back there, saw how it was in that part of the state, and they wanted to leave. So they would come in and put, I don't know the exact number that sheet you put in transfer. You remember what that is? Who was that number of the form you put out for transfer? 1049.
Well, I don't remember.
Well,
But it was a transfer sheet, CHIT.
That's right. So anyway, they would come in and put it in, and you had to give it to the first sergeant. And as soon, now keep in mind, I worked in the other room back there, so as soon as they walked out the door, boop, 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 went in the trash can. It didn't say Vietnam, it went in the trash can. That was the way Top operated. They call it Top. Keep in mind, he was from Georgia. You didn't say anything about Georgia. So anyway, and a few weeks later, there was another military bus loaded with soldiers headed down into Florida, and that happened often because so many people were coming back in body bags. They were headed to Florida for a funeral, several funeral details, and pulled up this nice restaurant to eat because it was lunchtime. And then before the door opened on the bus, the restaurant owner went outside and made the statement, "You all have any colored soldiers on the bus? Okay, you get that money, and you can bring that food to the bus. They cannot come in my restaurant." White soldiers said, "Let's burn them down." So, that didn't happen. Anyway, the guys went on to another place and found a place to eat. Even me, myself, I questioned. Why? Because all of this happened during that same time when I was drafted. Cassius Clay, known as later as Muhammad Ali, was on the draft call. I had to question, do I blame him? Everybody was saying how bad he was for not accepting the draft. And I was in on that too, but then after seeing the way we had been treated, I said, well, I just wondered if he wasn't right. And the word was all over the place, especially from the guys coming from up north. Buildings were burning down all over the country back then. Y'all know people were burning down neighborhoods. And the word was burn, baby, burn, everywhere you went. It was stuff burning down. I didn't see the use in that. I didn't see the need, and I did not like it. Even Martin Luther King got on TV and begged him, please, please, stop the burning. Stop the burning. But one day on the steps of the Capitol, I heard a congressman from New York, Adam Clayton Pike, stepped out and said, no, don't say burn, baby, burn, but learn, baby, learn. And wow, it was like somebody grabbed me and shook me. my whole life changed. My whole life changed. I began to study, and I just couldn't learn enough as I began to read about Black inventors who was raised above all this crazy stuff. I just couldn't believe it, but then the more I dug into it, the more I wanted to. I remember reading about Garrett Morgan, who invented the first three-way stoplight. He got $40,000 from General Electric for it. Elijah McCoy, he made fluid where the train steam engines would grease themselves. They wouldn't have to stop and grease the trains. That was a lady, Patricia Babb, who invented the laser focal device that would remove cataract. And then, of course, George Washington Carver. We know George Washington Carver had made many uses of peanut butter, of peanuts. And he also, he out of Tuskegee, he developed a crop rotation method, which alternated nitrate producing legumes such as peanuts and corn with cotton, which depleted the soil of its nutrients. So I said all that to say I'm not any of these people. I'm not Patricia Babb, can't be her. Who am I? Who am I? I'm not Garrett Morgan, because I didn't invent a stoplight. I'm not even the real McCoy. I didn't invent any grease. I'm not Martin Luther King. I didn't stand on the Capitol and say I have a dream. Not even Adam Clayton Powell, who said, "Learn, baby, learn." But I heard a song once that said, he's been so good to me, I just can't tell it all. After that experience, and I heard that from Adam Clayton Powell, my life changed for good. And being the night I was inducted as president of the Kiwanis Club of Roanoke, I asked the question, some of you were there that night, when I asked the question, can I just be me? And everybody said, just be me. So the next 40 years is another speech. But I will tell you this. I've been blessed. I've done things I never could ever dream that I've done. I have a beautiful wife and a family. That's more important than all the material things in your life. But God is good, and I'm not ashamed to say it. And I'm saying that all that little stuff that I went through is just that. It's history. Learn, baby, learn. I moved the button. I'm sorry.
JC, you're an eloquent speaker. You've added dimensions to our understanding that I'm sure many of us never had before. You gave a bit of history, you skipped over some. We'll look forward to the next chapter when you get up to the microphone. Now, I have a bit of history with me that you failed to mention. It turns out back in 2011, you chaired the Kiwanis Club of Roanoke's Interclub, and here's a souvenir from that event. The other souvenir is the speaker honorarium, which you designated, goes to the Relay for Life. Thank you, J.C. Taylor. Thank you. So you've seen J.C. do a couple things today. He honored us all with his personal story and testament. He educated us during this month of Black History, and he ended on time. So next week, we're gonna get another chapter in the story of Black history from our own Preston Tyler. Absolutely looking forward to that. In the meantime,